I'm going to call this meeting of the Williston Selectboard to order. As always, we're going to start with the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from November 4th? Sorry, we're going to review the minutes first. I apologize. I'm not the normal chair. We have to actually approve it first, and then. Okay. Right? Don't we?
That right?
Yeah, you could have a motion to approve with any amendments there.
Yes. There you go.
Okay. I move to approve the meeting minutes of November 4th, subject to any modifications.
Is there a second? Mike, you have to be the second.
Second. I second.
Any changes to page 1? Page 2?
Looks good to me.
Page 3? Okay, with no noted changes, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
I second.
Okay, great. Our next item of business is,
Don't you have to have us vote?
oh yeah, thank you. Oh my God, Ellie. Thank you. All in favor of approval of the minutes from November 4th, 2025? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. The next section is our public comment section. It's great to see so many faces here. If there are anybody who would like to make a public comment, I would ask you to come up to the mic, state your name, and give a brief statement. If there is an agenda item that you would like to speak on, you can choose to wait until that agenda item comes up, or you can speak about it now. Okay. You can come. Yep.
I'll speak about the tower.
Sure.
I've got a few questions I'd like to ask about it.
Okay, we are going to have that item. Do you want to wait until the public hearing section, or do you want to speak about it now?
How long before that takes place?
Maybe 15 minutes?
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody online?
Nope, no one online.
Okay. With that done, we'll move on to a town meeting TV update and budget request. And I understand, Jordan, you are going to share and present? Welcome.
Hello, thank you. So thank you for having me. My name is Jordan Mitchell, and I'm the co-director of operations for Town Meeting TV. I'll also note that kind of joining me here in the back here is Miles Jewell. He's a filmmaker, so you'll see he has a camera. He's been making a film about Town Meeting TV and CCTV for the last 4 years or so. So I think part of one of his through lines is, Town Meeting TV and budget and finances. So he's here recording me presenting to the municipalities, which I do for all of the municipalities. So that's what he's here for. But just wanted to introduce him. So thank you. My name is Jordan Mitchell. I'm the co-director of operations for Town Meeting TV. And I'm here to request contributions as part of the town's FY27 budget and give an overview of how funds were used last fiscal year with Town Meeting TV. And also just to check in and see how we can better support the municipality. So Town Meeting TV, we submit the report that's in your packet to brief the select board on our operations. So as you may know, CCTV is the parent operation, the nonprofit, which houses CCTV, or which houses Town Meeting TV, which is the cable access channel, CCTV Archives, which is our archival arm that houses all of our municipal meetings dating back to 1984, and CCTV Productions, which is our fee-for-hire portion. Town Meeting TV covers not just Williston, but also Burlington, South Burlington, Essex, Essex Junction, Winooski, and Colchester. Service and coverage is allocated based on cable subscriber numbers through what is referred to in your packet as a contract. Town Meeting TV provides gavel-to-gavel coverage of municipal meetings and community events, and provides media tools and assistance and internships to members in the community as well. So last fiscal year, we produced and supported 1,657 programs for our member communities. 351 of these programs is categorized as municipal coverage. For Williston, the contract stipulates production of 3 meetings per month and at least 1 more general program per month that's not municipal specific. We produced 40 Select Board, Planning Commission, and Development Review Board meetings last fiscal year. Outside of the municipal meetings, you might have seen us out and about in the community. Last year, we covered 5 general programs, and coverage included the Rotary Club Veterans Day event, a May Day rally, Stand Up for Workers and Immigrant Rights, and an interview with Terry McCaig about his time on the Select Board. We also have previously worked with Eric to produce a monthly live show in our studio called What's Up Williston, where he would share updates about what's happening in the community and how the community can be involved in their local government. And that just kind of scratches the surface of our coverage. If you feel there are program areas in the community that we are not covering, we only covered a small handful of programs last year, so there's more we could do in Williston. You're welcome to either reach out to me or you could reach out to the Williston trustee. The position is currently vacant, but it was previously served until recently by Helen Morgan Parmet, was the trustee, and we thank her for her service over the last few years with Town Meeting TV. But if there are areas that you don't see us at and you think might be good ideas, maybe there's ribbon cuttings for new events, maybe something at the school, a community event at the library, for example, we'd be glad to be there. To talk about the funding, Town Meeting TV is funded in large part by the cable subscribers of Comcast, and for those in Burlington, Burlington Telecom. Municipal contributions help to meet the increased demand for services to go with the decline in cable revenue. This year, we are requesting from Williston an FY27 municipal contribution of $15,315, which is a 5% increase from last year, and this is for general Town Meeting TV operations. You may be asking, if we're asking for a 5% increase, how else are we sustaining our revenue in other areas? And so CCTV does try to diversify our revenue sources because cable revenue for Town Meeting TV last year declined 9%. But we're only asking municipalities for a 5% increase. So in addition to cable revenue and the municipal contributions, we have fundraising, grant development, fee-for-service work, and advocacy. Town Meeting TV is a member of VAN, or the Vermont Access Network, which is a coalition of 23 public access centers across Vermont. Through VAN and their advocacy, last legislative session, we received $1.35 million in base funding from the Secretary of State's office, and we'll be increasing that over the next couple of years to be $2 million by FY28. We're also expanding our fee-for-service work through CCTV Productions if there's other either meetings in municipalities or other events, conferences and things like that folks are interested to have, hybrid or live streamed or recorded. That's another way we're diversifying revenue outside of municipal meetings. And lastly, this work can't be done without our staff that you see here every week. So I want to thank, we have Aubrey here tonight and MJ, who covers the DRB meetings, for their contribution to local democracy and, greasing the wheels, as we say. The work can't be done without them here in the room. So thank you. I welcome any questions or comments you may have.
Questions? Well, I want to say on behalf of us all, we're very appreciative of the work you all do. Everybody is always very professional, and we really appreciate that the access this provides to the public, and how this does make municipal government accessible to so many more than it may. And really just, thank you for the work, and I know that you do so much with such a relatively small budget, and great work. I don't have any specific questions. Mike, do you have any questions at this point?
I do not, but I would like to, just the same as you, I appreciate what they do. It's important that the public have the opportunity to watch these meetings and be a part of them. Democracy at its best.
Excellent.
I want to thank for your partnership and work over the years, and just some of the innovations you've done in this space the last few years. We have these 2 televisions, we have Zoom link, we have a select board member to create a quorum joining us from somewhere else in the country right now. It's all working really well, so this goes to the speaks to the ingenuity of the assistance that
I'll just echo the same sentiments that it's a really important service and it's really valuable to our community.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So at this point, there is no formal action required, but we really appreciate you coming and presenting, and again, all the work you've done.
Great, thank you. And if any questions come up while you're doing your budget work over the next couple months, please be sure to reach out. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
So at this point, we do have a little while before we officially can open the public hearing. Do we want to take care of some other business first? Or, oh, I had 7:20. Is it, do you, 7:15? Oh.
7:15, the agenda's till 7:20, so I think we're.
Okay. Okay. No, I mean, if that's, if it's only a few minutes, mine just says, yeah, okay. So next up, we do have a public hearing on the radio communications tower project scheduled. And Eric, you were going to introduce us before we officially start?
Yep. So let me pull up my notes here. So kind of reset where we've been with this. The town's been developing a project for a new radio communications tower on Old Creamery Road to support our police, fire, and public. The town has a lease agreement for the property that's owned by Vermont Electric Co-op. Over the past year, we've been working to file a certificate of public good to the Public Utilities Commission. The submittal of that application is now in a 60-day pre-application notice period. And this agenda item is designed to update the select board on the project, potential timelines for next steps, and provide a public overview of its scope with the warned public hearing. We have town staff from multiple departments here to present the project scope, the operational needs, the updated timeline, and then following the close of the public hearing, the select board can continue discussion on this project. I think I'll turn over to my colleagues here. Assistant Town Manager Aaron Dickinson's been leading this project, working with our public safety team over the last year, so I'll turn over to them.
Call the public hearing first? Or do
Yeah,
you-
I guess you can, yeah,
Okay.
you can open the public.
So I'm going to officially open the public hearing. The Williston Selectboard will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 18th, 2025 at 7:15 p.m. at Williston Town Hall, 7900 Williston Road, to receive public comment on a proposed public safety communications project located at 64 Old Creamery Road, Williston, Vermont. The town proposes to replace an existing approximately 70-foot tower with a 180-foot self-support lattice tower and associated equipment to improve radio coverage for police, fire, and emergency medical services. This hearing is part of the 60-day advance notice process under 30 VSA subsection 248A before the town files a petition with the Vermont Public Utility Commission, PUC, for a certificate of public good. With that, I'll turn it over to Chiefs and thank you. Well,
Yes, so I'll start with just a high-level overview. Can you hear me? And some of this might actually be repeated because it was in your intros as well. But as explained in the overview memo, this project will replace an existing tower that's 70 feet in height, and it will be replaced with a 180-foot tower. Okay, Mike, can you hear us?
I can't hear you now.
Okay. Can you hear us now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I heard it.
Thought maybe there was a secret.
I'll start over. So the project's replacing an existing 70-foot tower with a 180-foot tower to improve the reliability and performance of our public safety communications system. Its purpose is to ensure first responders can communicate clearly and effectively in all conditions. Along with the new self-supporting tower and modern antennas, the overall project will also include critical updates or upgrades to radio equipment and additional supporting infrastructure to create a resilient system that meets current and future needs. The site will also include a small equipment compound with a shelter for electronics and a paved access road with secure fencing. Utilities will be installed underground, including power and fiber optic lines, and an emergency generator will provide backup power. The project has been designed to have minimal environmental footprint, and the state wetland permitting is underway. The comment period for that wetland permit application ended yesterday, so hopefully we'll have a final approval on that this week. Later in the presentation, Chief Foley will provide information how the site location was selected. In terms of process, key steps that have already been completed included the site evaluation, engineering and design work, environmental and visual assessments, and an interested parties meeting that was held this past summer. As noted previously, we're currently in the 60-day advance notice period with the Vermont Public Utility Commission, which you'll hear us refer to as the PUC. And next steps include tonight's public hearing and then a submission of the formal PUC application for a certificate of public good, which we'll call a CPG for short. Essentially, the CPG is a state level authorization needed for us to construct the tower. The PUC application is expected to be submitted on or close to December 6th, and the application process will also include a public comment period. If the PUC issues a CPG, the next step would then be to secure funding. The project is expected to be financed through a municipal bond dedicated to public safety infrastructure. And though timing is under evaluation, the Select Board could potentially consider a bond vote in August or November 2026. This schedule would allow for more accurate cost estimates and additional public outreach. Once funding is secured, we would expect to engage an engineer to help guide the project through the construction phase. In terms of what comes next tonight, Chief Foley and Chief Collette will provide additional detail on operational needs, current challenges, and how this project addresses them. Deputy Chief Gary will share visual simulations of the proposed tower, and then following that, we will be happy to answer any questions and hear comments. And with that, I turn it to Chief Foley.
Good evening. The first thing I'll talk about is the Williston Police Department's coverage needs. The police department currently operates on a shorter tower at 64 Old Creamery Road, as mentioned, that does not provide adequate coverage within the town of Williston. Large portions of the village, including Central School, have little to no reliable radio signal. A small transmitter on our police department's roof offers only a temporary limited fix and covers just a small area within the village here. Officers have encountered dangerous situations in which they were unable to communicate with dispatch or with another unit. Responding to calls becomes significantly more challenging when dependable communication is not available. Now, I'll briefly talk about the fire department, and Chief Collette will add to it, but currently the fire department currently relies on the Shelburne Fire radio system located in the town of Shelburne, which is not optimal for Williston. In-building coverage is extremely limited, creating significant operational risk. And as mentioned, Chief Collette will expand on those examples. Our site selection and height consideration, radio signals require elevated locations to maximize coverage, like standing on a mountaintop rather than in the valley. The town evaluated high points in Williston and surrounding areas, including 5 Tree Hill, Brigham Hill, Brownell Mountain, Fontaine Silo, Governor Chittenden Road, Greenwood Lane, Mount Pritchard, Mountain View Water Tower, Nob Hill, Catamount Outdoor Center, Saxon Hill, South Burlington Water Tower, South Hill, and others. Williston terrain presents challenges. A ridge parallel to the interstate, additional southern terrain, and the descent into the Winooski River all create coverage gaps for us. Many sites were eliminated due to the limited coverage or distance. Nob Hill, while promising and town-owned, is restricted by the FAA because of the airport approach path, limiting tower height below treetops. Our current location at 64 Old Creamery Road emerged as the only site that, 1, provides broad coverage across the town, 2, offers viable access and town ownership, and 3, permits a tower height which is acceptable to the FAA. The tower design, the proposed height allows full town coverage while avoiding FAA-required lighting, minimum visual and environmental impact. Latest design is slim, public safety only, and does not include cell phone carriers, which would be required a large base and a bunkier tower. The site balances functionality with minimal visual intrusion. Risk of not building. Without this replacement, the town would need to rebuild the existing tower and add multiple supplemental sites, dramatically increasing costs and still not providing reliable coverage. Public safety requires ultra-high reliability at all times. Public safety requires ultra-high reliability in all conditions at all times, and the current coverage is neither safe nor sustainable. In concluding, current coverage leaves critical gaps, putting both officers and the community at a serious risk. The tower is the most practical, cost-efficient way to ensure reliable communications for all public safety services. Chief Collette will now provide examples of communication challenges with the existing tower and equipment.
And you might share your screen. Perfect. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, members of the Select Board and members of the public that are here joining us tonight. My name is Aaron Collette. I serve as your fire chief. When we were asked to evaluate the status of our communications, the fire department was more than happy to jump on board for this project. Every day we encounter challenges with communications. This will be a reiteration of the interested parties meeting that we held this summer. The data in tonight's presentation has been updated and is true through the effective date of November 11th. So Aaron, if you don't mind the next slide. To date, the Williston Fire Department has experienced 88 emergency incidents where we had communications challenges. And how do we know that? Within our records management software, we have a specific agency question that asks our team, did you have problems? And that problem traditionally ranges from not being able to get out of the building, as Chief Foley has indicated, but even more critically is we cannot reach the dispatch center. We cannot communicate with the dispatch center. If I could have the next slide, please. These communications problems are not new to 2025. Since we've been tracking the communications issue, January 2024 through November 11, that's 156 emergency incidents where we had communications problem. And this background is an actual report that comes up from our records management software that tells us all the incidents that we had issues with. 156 times where we put our members and the public at risk. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. Next slide. The impact of an unreliable communication center for our fire department operations is simply what I just said, firefighter and civilian safety risk. That means that if a firefighter is operating within a building and they use their portable radio to try to speak back to the dispatch center, the dispatch center may not hear their pleas for help. When we need assistance on a fire alarm activation because all of a sudden we've discovered that it's now a building fire and we can't reach the dispatch center, that's critical time that it takes away from getting extra resources into our scene. When we can't communicate with the incident commander, the person in charge, the person responsible for firefighter accountability, for civilian accountability, to make sure that the tasks are complete and that the incident is mitigated, we have that breakdown. It results in an inefficient use of our resources, meaning that we have a duplication of resources when the dispatch center can't reach us. We have poor interoperability when we summon assistance, like we did last week on Tuesday and Wednesday evening on the highway. We had a terrible time communicating with the dispatch center. And they couldn't hear us. The critical need is really, truly life safety. Next slide, please. How does this work? When you have unreliable situation when firefighters are in a hazardous environment, meaning immediately dangerous to life and health, they can't reach the dispatch. When they go to transmit what we call a mayday, that's a firefighter in distress, there's nobody there to hear that. And they can only hope that through the use of their radio, that one of the firefighters that may be out running one of the pump on the fire engine or outside the building may hear that plea. But they certainly aren't contacting the dispatch center to let them know of their emergency. Within the building, we're unable to transmit orders. If you need a resource or if you need a task completed, it's very difficult to get that information out. The miscommunications delay response in this relay of critical information is putting our firefighters and our civilians at risk. Next slide, please. How does it break down for the incident commander? Last Tuesday, or maybe last Wednesday, Tuesday night, we were on the highway answering one of the 8, I think, motor vehicle crashes that happened that night that we were answering within a short amount of time. And we didn't have a fire apparatus available. All of our apparatus were committed. We had the city of South Burlington in our community. South Burlington Fire was committed. We had 2 ambulances on the road that night. We had the University of Vermont ambulance in town. During those crashes, we had Essex Rescue in town that night as well. We needed a suppression piece. I attempted to hail the dispatch center to request the Richmond Fire Department. They could not hear me. They could not hear me on a portable radio from the interstate. That request went unanswered, and it wasn't until I got back to the truck and the dispatch center said, Richmond's not available, they have their own crashes, you're on your own. This would have been a very, very dangerous situation if we had a vehicle on fire. Fortunately, we were able to mitigate that crash with the single ambulance that we had there. The breakdown of incident command and control goes even further when we have crews working between multi-story buildings and they can't talk between those stories. Or in the instance the other evening when we had a fire in the basement of an occupied senior housing complex, that you can't get out of that building to talk to dispatch, to request additional resources, or to talk outside of that area. Communications breakdown result in a lack of coordination and poor operational oversight. And it promotes freelancing operations, meaning when they can't hear anybody on the radio and they don't know what else to do, they're going to do what they think should be done. In firefighting, that's a high-risk situation. As you know, this is an inefficient use of resources. cellular connectivity here in the town center is not reliable. We can ask any of the town staff on why we can't talk to each other on a cell phone here. We have needed other ways to utilize methods of connectivity. We have now enabled satellite connectivity in emergency operations capacity and on our ambulance because we have such unreliable communications. It's difficult to communicate with other resources. As I said last Tuesday, when the city of South Burlington had a fire engine here in our community, I tried to call them on the portable radio and asked for them to come to the highway, and they couldn't hear me. We summon EMS, other medical assistants, other ambulances into our community every day. It is very difficult for us to give patient care reports, patient updates from inside of our buildings to let the incoming ambulances know, or even our own ambulance, what the patient status is. In fact, just last week where we had a patient in cardiac arrest, I'm not sure that that update was going to happen via portable radio. I can't speak factually if that happened or not, but certainly the way the town is arranged, if you're on the north face of these larger buildings, the portable radio cannot get through, does not have enough power to transmit through the building. Often we need to relay communications out to larger vehicles, such as the fire truck, and use the person at the fire truck with a 100-watt mobile radio to communicate back to dispatch center.
Sorry.
No worries. The life safety concerns with this is we're aware. We know that this problem exists. This problem is not new to Williston. The deputy can attest to that this problem has been here for a number of years. We've had a lot of Band-Aid style fixes, and we're optimistic that this design will help us solve that problem. We operate every day at a liability where it could take an emergency that could have otherwise been mitigated and turn it into a tragedy. Without addressing the issue, we're putting our life safety of our citizens and our firefighters at risk. Next slide, please. This is an example of this before the highway situation last Tuesday. We were operating at a motor vehicle crash. This is an actual photo from that crash on August 7th. We had two severely injured patients, one entrapped inside of a vehicle with life-threatening injuries. There was only 2 firefighters on scene. We worked to request additional resources there. We tried to do that on portable radio multiple times. That did not work. We went back to the fire engine. The fire engine, this is the first U-turn south of exit 12 on the interstate. The fire engine could not reach the dispatch center. We ended up calling dispatch center on a cell phone to say we need more help, I need more ambulances, I need another engine from the city of South Burlington, who thankfully they were able to take that call. We shouldn't have to rely on cellular connectivity via my issued cell phone to ask for help. We should be able to do that through the radio. Next slide, please. This slide talks about the demonstration. And as an example, we're sitting here in the town hall and I can't talk to dispatch. Shelburne Dispatch from Williston, C1. Shelburne Dispatch, Williston, C1.
Shelburne Dispatch, calling
I didn't want
Did you hear what he said?
to, yeah.
Unit calling, you're unreadable. I'm gonna have to go call him on the cell phone to tell him what we're doing. He cannot hear us. Thank you.
And Deputy Chief Gary, did you have anything to add, or did you want to?
The only thing I can add to that is that with this problem not being new to Williston, in our past, even prior to Chief Collette, we have tried multiple different approaches to improve our radio communications by portable radio. We've tried using in-vehicle repeaters to try and go from the portable to an in-vehicle repeater to then use the truck radio. And no matter what we have done with different equipment, different brands, everything like that, every one of them have found to be unreliable and incomplete. So it isn't something that we are just relying on this one last issue. We have worked diligently through the years to try and find every avenue that we could, and every avenue we have come to has been a dead end and unreliable. So we continue looking at that.
Thank you. And I understand we do have some public comment from, now would be the time we'd have you come.
We actually have
Oh,
more.
you do? I'm sorry, I apologize.
No worries.
So we have slides of, we had what they call the balloon test.
Yes.
And it was a simulation for the day of a balloon raised in where the tower is going to be potentially located, and it gives a height evaluation of what it would look like from surrounding areas. This company took multiple pictures from areas around town, and I can go through the slides and kind of give you an idea of where they are and what the viewpoint would look like from around town.
Great.
So this gives you an idea of the circle. I think it was 1 mile. 1 mile in circumference from view shed from around the proposed tower site. So the first viewpoint is St. George Road, just south of the Old Creamery Road intersection. And as you can see, it is not visible from this location. This is St. George Road, just north of Old Creamery Road, just as you start to go down over the hill, and that balloon is where the top of the tower would be located. That is also the same location with a simulation of what the proposed tower would look like visually. Third slide is overlake view at the end of the road. And you can see the tip of the balloon almost to the right side towards the middle of the frame. You can see that balloon on the right-hand side. And again, that is the same viewpoint with a simulation of what the tower would look like from that vantage point. That is also overlake view, about 342 overlake view, midway down the road with the tower simulation. Old Creamery Road, roughly in the area of 350 Old Creamery Road, and currently not visible down over the knoll just as you're traveling towards away from St. George Road. 6 is St. George Road south at the south of Old Creamery, just below the S-turns, and the tower location is not visible from that site. Slide 7, photo 7 is Highlands Drive in the area of 263 Highlands Drive, and it is not visible from that location. Slide 8 is Old Creamery Road, around the address of 576. And once again, the tower location is not visible from that area. Slide 9 is Highlands Drive in the area of 447, and the location is not visible from that area. Slide 10 is 459 Oak Knoll Road, and the tower is not visible from that location. Slide 11 is St. George Road at the exit of the current new state police barracks. And you are unable to see the tower location from that viewpoint. Slide number 12 is 148 McJ Drive, and the tower location is not visible from that location. Slide 13 is the intersection of Old Creamery Road and Sunset Hill Road, and not currently visible from that location. Slide 14 is 2500 South Burnell Road, which is just south of Van Sicklen Road. Slide 15 is Hurricane Lane, directly just up from the Sonesta Suites. And if you look very, very faintly, you can almost make out the tip of it up through, but it is, you got to expand it out multiple times because it's very, very hard to see. Slide 16 is the park and ride, the new park and ride on St. George Road, and is not visible from that location. Slide 17 is 2895 South Burnell Road, just north of Charles Road. And that is another one that if you zoom in and you have your good glasses on, better than mine, you can very, very faintly see just over the tree line the tip of where the balloon is. But it is very difficult to make out. It's almost in the center of the screen. Slide 18 is the intersection of Sunset Hill and Hassett Lane, and the balloon is not visible. Tower location is not visible from that location.
Actually, Tim, this is one of the ones
that the
where
one?
it's faintly visible.
Is that another one that you
Just
can,
to the right of the middle of the screen, barely.
way in the back, right in the V of the
Yeah,
trees?
in the kind of dip right towards the
Yep.
right center. I had to flip through that one a couple times.
Missed that one.
Yeah, I only see it because when you do the simulation of the tower one, then I'm like, oh, okay,
And-
that's where the balloon is.
Picks it up. Number 20 is Van Sicklen at Blue Heron Drive. And you'll see the same photo with the tower simulation. And you can barely see it just to the right side of the screen. Slide 21 is South Burnell, just north of Walker Hill Road. Slide 22 is 477 St. George Road, which is just south of Old Creamery Road. And it is not visible from that location. Slide 23 is 158 Charles Road.
This is another one.
You could barely, if you blow it up, you could see the very faint dot right at the tree line.
Yeah.
Even in the simulation one, I can't, I can't tell where it is.
Slide 24 is Old Creamery Road at Farm View Lane. And it is not visible from that location. Uh, 25 is the view from the Interstate 89 north off-ramp, looking towards the south, and it is not visible from that location. And the last is 2939 St. George Road, right in front of the Sunoco station on St. George Road.
So on the left side of, like, the left side of the bridge, there's a
The
light pole.
V in the
that's
trees.
right above
Yeah.
that.
Right at the tree line. It's still within the tree line.
concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Well, thank you. That is very helpful. So at this point, we will be accepting public comment. If you wanted to come up and introduce yourself. Yes, I'm positive this time. Gotten the A, okay.
Okay, I'm Byron Gaffrey. I live at 46 Old Greenwood Road, which is the corner of 280 Old Greenwood Road. You can see the tower from my house. You feel it's on the end of Walker Hill Road. You can see the that tower there. Am I correct?
I'm not sure. I didn't do the visual study. So we were, it was,
I'm talking about the immediate area of that tower. You can see it. Snowdrift Lane, they can see it. Just to cover the bases for you. I don't have a problem myself with the tower other than I've got questions. My question is, will the tower devaluate my property or the surrounding properties? I would say yes. Am I correct?
There had been some studies that we looked into where it did not suggest that it would devalue the property. You know,
But we don't know that yet.
we don't know that.
And we won't know that until the tower's up, correct? That's number one. So the other thing, will it affect my property value in the future? If I decide to sell, everybody, oh, look at that. I don't want to live here. Look at the tower. I say that devaluates my property. Am I correct?
Well, with this particular tower, some things to keep in mind. Again, I can't predict that for you, but it will not have lights on it. It will not be generating traffic. It's not a public facility.
I maintain that lot for the power company. I'm the one that mows it, takes care of it.
Right.
I'm adjacent to them.
Yeah, so it's really minimally invasive. The footprint is intended to be cognizant of causing a lot of visibility obstruction. That's the design of the tower, was also to be mostly visually see-through to help with that aesthetic as well. So that's what I can share with you.
And another person is Joe Robbins. He's in direct line with that tower in his house. There's no way he cannot see it. No way.
I'm sure he can see it, yeah.
And I'm surprised Ron Davis ain't in
Ron came to the interested parties meeting that we had earlier this summer, and we spent quite a bit of time with Ron. He had a lot of really excellent questions.
here. Will this tower affect our cell phones, our cable, dish, stereo antennas outside the house? That tower gonna affect them in any way?
My understanding is that it shouldn't. I'm not the technical expert on that.
I'm hoping it works in my favor, but
Yeah.
it is a question.
Yeah.
And it could be a very strong negative.
Yeah, no, my understanding is the technology would not interfere with those systems, but that's something I could look into and get back to you on.
I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So will the tower blend in with the landscape?
It is intended to. There will be no
Yeah,
trees
you know.
removed.
Is
Obviously,
it green so far up and then become blue?
that's a really
Is it all gray?
From the renderings that I've seen, it is mostly gray because I think it's the metal construction of it, but it is designed.
It can be any color.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
not
it
sure.
has to be this said, when you build it, we want it this color.
yeah.
That's fact.
Galvanized steel, right? Yeah, it'll be metal.
So galvanized is shiny.
Dull, galvanized dull, not a shiny.
Okay. Is there a potential fire hazard with that tower there, with lightning?
From my recollection in speaking prior, is that it is in It is specifically intended and built and designed with the possibility of getting hit by lightning, and all of the electrical safeties are built into it to, one, not damage the equipment that we're using, and to not damage any of the area around it.
So you're saying lightning cannot bounce off?
It is designed to absorb it and direct it completely to ground in more than one location. So it has multiple places to be able to do that. Yeah.
And to piggyback off of that, for other weather events like high winds or tornadoes or what have you, it's designed to have specific breakpoints so that it doesn't impact anything around it. So that's not.
It does have flexibility, I would assume.
Yeah, it's intended to withstand strong weather conditions.
So is there a cost to the taxpayers for this tower?
Yeah, but the town needs to explore the public financing component of that. So it would likely be a public bond with public debt to pay for the tower
Or
itself.
will be a bill towards us?
It would be part of the overall town budget for debt to pay through property taxes and other means.
So our taxes are gonna go up so you can build a tower?
Likely, but as you've heard from our public safety staff here this evening, it's a critical need for our community.
These are all questions I would really appreciate answered prior to this tower going up.
Eric, to
I mean-
piggyback on that, would it also depend on the budget year that it possibly would be voted on, whether there's any debt service that falls off or other factors, so it could really depend.
Yeah, it's all baked into the budget.
Yeah, prior to the tower being able to go up, we would have, the select board would need to decide, make the decision that we would put this towards a bond vote, and then it would go to the public to vote on the bond. And currently, you know, we're considering a possible August of 2026 or November of 2026 bond vote. But obviously, there would be all the information about costs and all of that prior to that. And then the public would decide on, you know, whether that was, the debt would be incurred by the town.
Anybody have a general idea of what this tower is gonna cost? $1 million, $2 million?
Yeah, I think the tower itself, $1 million. We need to update the numbers, but the other component is all the electronics that go with that, the repeaters and other elements to make the system work. And we have some legacy systems that need to have upgrades. So part of what we're doing in the coming months is figuring out that financial component to everything. But the tower itself, probably at least $1 million, but we need to update that number.
So when it's all said and done, you're talking between 1.5 and $2 million to do this.
It'll probably be closer to 3 or more, to be honest
3 or
with you.
more.
The equipment is actually where the really big cost will come in. We don't have updated figures because we had begun this project over a year ago, so I'm sure it's outdated. But most of our equipment is actually from the 1990s and early 2000s.
I understand that, yeah.
So it's at end of life, and those are really the most expensive components of the project. Another component of the project, we'd have to collaborate with the Essex PD, but that would entail installing a 20-foot extension on their current tower as part of this overall project. So all of that hopefully would be bonded at the same time.
So is there anything set up as, you know, as far as Richmond, Huntington, wherever, the surrounding people, that's gonna help them with this tower being up there? Are
Yeah.
they gonna put into the kitty?
I don't think it's designed that way.
No.
Yeah.
And they have worse coverage than we do. We can't even speak it, us,
Okay.
Richard. So,
I'm just
yeah.
asking the question.
They're very good questions.
So the final thing is, when you get all these answers, I would like a paper written up by the town, given to me, saying that it will not bother my property value or in the future to sell my property because that tower is there, and I would appreciate it notarized by the town also.
I can talk with our assessors team, but I'm not sure to what level of guarantee we can make of that, but I'll follow up with our staff and follow up with you.
I have a very nice piece of property. Unfortunately, I have Ron Davis in my backyard, and I've dealt with him for 24 years now because the town would not step up to the plate and help me. Not once. The police department was there multiple times, 130-something times 1 year. The town did not step up to the plate and help me. And they knew that Ron Davis's house was built on the property line. They stopped him from building, and he basically told the town where to go and did it anyway. That house does not have only one permit on a very small portion of it, and a permit on a wall that he put on the, what he calls the carport. The rest of that place has no permits. How did he get occupancy to live there? From the town. I want to know that.
Yeah. Question for our zoning administrator. I can follow up with that.
You speak up.
I can follow up on that. It's a question for our zoning administrator, so I don't have the answer right now.
We went to court. That's why I know there's no permits on that place.
Okay.
There again, the town wouldn't step up to the plate. They did not go to court for me. So I've had to deal with Ron Davis for 24 years because the town did not do their job. They were supposed to go look at it this spring. I'll bet you it was a drive-by. And I never heard anything back, and he was supposed to get a hold of me and let me know, but he never did. This is your zoning. So I'm very unhappy with the town and what they do on that corner. When it comes to Ron Davis, you guys just push the paperwork under and let it go. You don't do a thing about it. Not one thing. The police department, on the other hand, will come and try to help me. And I thank you for that. I think I said my piece. And I expect a follow-up and a paper notarized that my property value will not get diminished in any form or manner because of the tower. I don't have a problem with the tower. If it saves one life, it was well worth the $2 million. That's my opinion. But for my property to get hurt because of the tower, that's a whole different issue. And I'll do what I have to do to protect it.
Thank you for your comments and your questions, and it sounds like Erin's got some follow-up that she'll do, and Eric will talk to the zoning administrator and kind of follow up on that issue. You know, there will be other certainly opportunities for the public, you know, to talk about this as we enter into discussing this as a possible bond vote. So, you know, keep informed about that process.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, well, I said my piece, and I'm going to head out, and I hope to hear from you.
Do I have your contact info? Yes, I have your email. If you don't mind writing it down.
Is there anybody else in the room who has public comment on the radio communications tower, or anybody online?
No one on Zoom.
No. Okay. Without further public comment, is there a motion to close the public hearing on the radio tower communications project?
I move to close the public hearing on the radio tower communications.
Mike, you still got a second?
Should we follow up on this a little bit first?
We're
This
going to talk
gentleman
about it
is
after
concerned?
we close the public hearing.
Okay, you know, it is a safety issue, and you know, I believe it's important that we have this tower. But you know, I'm interested to talk about it after.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. You just right now, if you'll just.
I second it.
Okay.
I second it.
All right. So with that, if there's any discussion amongst the select board, if you maybe want to stay, yeah. Sounds like Mike has some questions. So this is just the chance for the select board to discuss the project. Any questions? Ellie or Mike? Sounds like Mike has some questions.
I just want to make sure we get back with the gentleman, we might not be able to solve everything, but I think it's important that, we understand it all, and he feels he's been listened to, and he feels, he feels better about it.
Yep, it sounds like there's a couple of folks in town staff here who are going to address some of the pieces, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have just a couple clarifying questions. So so with the tower and the Essex piece as well, will the entire town be adequately covered? And of the 156 incidents from the slideshow between January 24 and November 25, would all of those have been resolved with this tower in place?
I don't know the answer.
Okay. I had a third question, but it escapes me now.
So with the tower, it sounds like, so currently we're using Shelburne, you said radios and all that. That's separate though to dispatch. We'll still continue to use Shelburne for dispatch purposes, right?
Right now, we have no option other than really Shelburne
Right.
for us. I mean, Shelburne is who we partnered with.
Yep.
I think that there are people that have radio technology savvy, which I don't, that could probably optimize our efficiencies. And I don't know if that exists within Shelburne Dispatch or a more regional dispatch center.
Okay. And so, but assuming that we continue, I'm working with Shelburne for dispatch purposes, all of the radio communications, the new software or whatever will still work with what they have, that's what you're saying, it might.
Correct, as I understand it, that's accurate,
Okay.
yes. And so, just for clarification, the Williston Fire Department doesn't have a dispatch frequency.
Right.
We don't have an issued dispatch frequency. We only piggyback on the licensure of the town of Shelburne. So we are still in the process of petitioning the FCC to even have our own radio frequency to talk to dispatch, to have a dispatch center on. So, I mean, these are other challenges that are along the way.
Yep.
So we are completely reliant on it. And then if we lose Shelburne, and Shelburne Dispatch is aware of this, their vulnerability is great. We don't have a solid backup. We have an ad hoc backup that we can evolve, but that would take some smart tech savvy people to be able to do that. That's not flipping a switch.
Right.
It's not that simple.
Okay.
And if I can speak to next steps from here, so this Public Utilities Commission Certificate of Public Good, that filing will take place, it's a couple weeks there, right?
We're expecting around December 6th.
December 6th, there's a 60-day period for comments once that's by a 30-day period. So we think, kind of a best case scenario, we could have that positive permit, that certificate by early next year, January, February time period. So that's a big element in this whole process. It's taken a lot of work to get to this point from our team and our consultants to get us here. That certificate doesn't expire, so that's a big milestone. The first thing we did with this project was secure the site with a land lease from Vermont Electric Co-op. It's a 40-year lease with additional 10-year terms added onto it, essentially more than the life of this tower. The certificate of public good, and then we applied to the FAA for the flight path approval. We had to let that lapse because it only had a time limit, but our guidance was to reapply for it when we're getting ready to go for the project. So what the team's working on next is to get a technical consultant on board, so we need to get an updated cost figures on the project, design work, site work with the civil engineering team as well. And then that will give an updated overall cost number for part of the discussion of public financing at that point. So we think having those questions answered by mid-January to have a March consideration for town meeting is likely not possible with that work that's still down the road. And in this period of waiting for the permit. So we think, should the board wish to move this forward next year, August or November are options, or the following town meeting.
Obviously, you know, it's a while away, but do we have a sense of the availability of the materials and the things, like, once, you know, assuming, you know, we got approved and things like that, you know, a timeline for building and materials? Are these, I mean, impacted by, you know, shortages? Or they, I mean, we're looking at, you know, 3 years for a fire truck. Are we looking at 3 years for some of this communications stuff, or do we just don't know yet?
Yeah, it's hard to predict. I mean, as of a couple months ago, it was estimated it would take about 12 to 15 weeks for the steel, but that could have changed. I mean,
Okay.
and it will probably change again
Yeah.
by the time that we get there.
Okay. Mike, did you have any other questions?
I think it's important that we do this communications tower. I think I know that in emergencies, seconds count. I walked into a room in a barn that was on 3 walls and a ceiling on fire, and all I had was a neighbor and 2 snow shovels to knock the fire down, and I was awful grateful to see the fire department pull in a few minutes later. So I know that seconds count.
Great, excellent. Well, thank you all for this. We obviously look forward to getting, you know, more details as, you know, more information becomes available, and from the tech consultant and everybody. But it sounds like, you know, the process is well underway. So thank you all.
I want to thank the team here. This is a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
At this point.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
And
it.
if Will Dodge is on still, I want to give him a great amount of thanks. He's been our consultant through getting through the regulatory piece of this, and he has been invaluable. So, Will, if you're still listening, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, chiefs, and Aaron, and deputy chiefs.
Thank you, Chiefs.
So next on our agenda, we have a town reappraisal discussion, and Michaela, I understand you are going to be presenting.
So we've got a rapid fire agenda items of the assessor's office.
Yes.
So, first, our assistant assessor,
You get to hang out with us
Michaela.
for a while.
Wonderful, excellent. All right.
Michaela will walk the board through kind of where we are with reappraisal and what's on the horizon. So, turn it to her.
Do I go?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm Michaela. I'm the assistant assessor for the town of Williston. So the first thing that I'm kind of bringing to your attention is right now we have been contacted by the state of Vermont, the Property Review Division, regarding our out of compliance status with the reappraisal. As of January 1st, 2025, it is a new state law that towns have to undergo reappraisals every 6 years. Williston's last reappraisal was 2016, so a little bit ago. So kind of coming to you here to kind of inform you that we are planning to send out an RFP to request like proposals for the reappraisal for the town. We are doing this now because as of, again, part of the new laws that have been passed, January 1st, 2027 is like the cutoff date for towns to be able to independently enter into new reappraisal contracts. Starting in 2029, the idea that the state is basically going to try and regionalize all towns within, again, it's very up in the air right now, but essentially they're going to try and regionalize towns, so that way we're kind of like on a rolling reappraisal schedule, but it's going to be with like groups of towns rather than independent towns, and that really stems just because of the lack of reappraisal companies that are in the state, and again, they are booking out. COVID really did a number on the reappraisal process, so again, a lot of towns are booking out. So again, at this time, we are expecting to issue an RFP probably mid-December. It probably should be out for a little bit longer. I don't know, again, how many reappraisal firms are actually able to do so. I think it's probably around 10 that the state basically, they have kind of like a list that are actually allowed to do reappraisals. And then the idea is to probably award it in the spring. Timeline, not Ideally 2027 to 2030. But again, it really just depends on the company and who bids for the process. So again, just kind of coming here to inform you that that is kind of coming up within the assessor's office. Any questions?
So we have to enter into a contract by 2027 to do it independently, but it doesn't matter when when they actually,
Correct.
as long as the contract is
long
2027, the
as it
appraisal
is-
can be in like 2030? Or-
Yeah, as long as it's signed prior to that date. The 2027 is the cutoff for essentially, again, that's when they're going to try and start regionalizing the groups, and so, yeah, 2027 is the hard deadline.
We've got about over $500,000 in our town reappraisal fund to use towards this purpose. We'll have a better sense once the RFP responses come in, if that's adequate.
Yep. I did talk with the town of Colchester about a month ago, who is currently going under a reappraisal. They estimated around $100 to $120 per parcel. Theirs was about $100 per parcel. They have 7,500 parcels. We have about 4,800 parcels currently.
How much did it cost us in 2016?
That's a great question. I am not totally sure about that. I'll be very honest with you.
Okay,
220.
thank you.
Perfect. She was here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
okay. So a decade ago, I mean, doubling of the price, I mean, that's the way inflation is right now.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay.
And how do commercial properties fall in the cost of the appraisal?
Yeah, so commercial, so again, we would contract a firm essentially, and they would handle like the commercial, industrial, and I mean, again, really non-residential as well as residential. There may be some properties that the town decides to bid out independently. However, we really haven't started that process yet as to which properties that would be. So again, the reappraisal firm is going to cover all sectors of commercial, industrial, and residential. And again, they are qualified to do so.
Is it possible to put the commercial properties ahead of the residential properties?
Yeah, so it really does depend on like the reappraisal firm. I do know some like to kind of cut it in quarters, essentially. Like they'll do like this segment, and this segment. Some like to do commercial and industrial, year one, and then year two's are residential. And again, those are all things that would be in the RFP, and we would ask for them to lay out kind of their outline of how they kind of go about doing so.
How long does the process usually take?
I would estimate about at least a year to 2 years. It is a pretty big process to undergo. Again, if it's a smaller firm, it may take 2 years. If it is a larger firm, more hands-on, it may take less, with about a year. But again, in terms of bidding out, we're probably going to be bidding out 2, 3, 4 years until they can actually like get to it, essentially.
You have any ideas on how commercial properties have been appraising? Like
In what way?
Colchester?
In what, like how they're selling currently?
Well, not how they're selling, but how they're appraising. Are they appraising higher like residential real estate, or are they losing value?
Yeah, I would say just about every sector is experiencing growth and has experienced. Residential has definitely taken off exponentially. However, I will say, like looking at some industrial and commercial sales, it has also definitely gone up. Your bigger box stores, those may not see as like high of an increase as residential. However, I mean, Maple Tree Place they've got new tenants now. There's not many big box stores in town that are totally vacant. So again, commercial-wise, it may not be as large of an increase as residential, but we do anticipate it's still going up and not decreasing in value.
I like that. I'd like to quote that sometime.
Is it safe to say, McKenna?
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Our CLA, as I recall, is around 62% or so. So
Yep.
that's, to market value, it's about 40% lower. So our grand list is over 2 billion. It's conceivable we're going to be over 3 billion in grand list value when this is all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of where we're predicting right now. But again, once we get into it, I mean, again, the more nuanced areas we'll be able to kind of look at more closely. But right now, 62% was for, 2025. I mean, I will say, looking at sales that have come since April 1st, 2025, we're probably around 55% to like 50%, quite honestly, especially with the residential side. So it's time.
It's time in a few years when they get to it.
Oh, right. In a few years, it's time. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you. And so we'll know more once the RFPs come in.
Yeah. So
Typically,
again,
that's-
the goal is going to be probably like mid-December, and then again, we'll keep you guys kind of informed, especially on like cost, what bids I'm assuming come in, that kind of stuff. So absolutely.
And as we looked into this, the listers typically award that contract for the reappraisal, but kind of segue to our next discussion. If the listers' positions are eliminated at town meeting, we want to keep the select board apprised and maybe look at kind of a joint decision-making process, see how that all plays out.
Yes, we will not unilaterally spend $500,000.
So with that in mind, that brings us naturally right into the next topic, which is the elimination of the elected lister positions.
All right, so we would kind of, Assessor's Office and Board of Listers in conjunction kind of bring forward to transitioning from an elected Board of Listers to like an appointed assessor model. And we would like to have that on the ballot for consideration in March of 2026. Currently, our Williston listers, I don't know how much you guys know about what they do, but currently they are elected to 3-year terms. Their primary duties are more minimal. It's really the signing of the grand list annually, and they also accept and deny grievance during grievance period. Right now, I handle more of the day-to-day operations and also the property valuations. That's really left to like the assessor side of it. So again, our listers currently are more during the grievance process is when they kind of come out, essentially. But moving to this kind of assessor model also would align Williston with the majority of Chittenden County, and quite honestly, like Williston's grand list, we are the 5th largest grand list in the state, 10th in population, and all of the others in the top 5 have assessor, go by the assessor model rather than the Board of Listers. So the reason we're kind of bringing this to your attention now is because starting January 1st, 2026, there are new state requirements for elected listers and assessors. For listers, they're going to be required to take 48 hours of education classes in order to get to the VPA like level 1, or Vermont Property Assessor level 1. Assessors are going to be required to get to level 2, which is 96 hours. So there's kind of a pretty significant increase in what we're going to be asking our listers to do for, quite honestly, the minimal amount of time that they do spend here. And again, I don't want to talk for the listers. We do have one lister here whom I don't want to put her on the spot, but if she'd like to say something about her experience here. But I think that there's just an education gap between what those 48 hours are actually going to cover, which is going to be more of, quite honestly, it's going to be more geared towards listers for smaller towns who do run the day-to-day operations. When I say day-to-day, I mean maybe once a week for some of them. So again, I think that's kind of where we're at, is like just the education gap, where again, Williston has experienced a lot of growth in, like, again, commercially and industrially, which leads to a lot more complex appeals. And so some of these classes are not going to be geared to kind of bridging the gap that they would like to have for their experience when kind of coming to those appeals, essentially. Let's see, anything else? And I guess I should also mention that over the years, like, we have had a hard time staffing the Board of Listers. We've been really lucky. Terry had stepped up. But again, it has been harder to find people, and with these new additional education requirements, we're going to be asking people to do a lot of training for minimal, actual office time, essentially, and time during appeals. So yeah, that's what I got for that one.
The town charter contemplates this scenario. There's enabling language in the charter to put that question to the voters for elimination of the elected lister positions. Don't need a decision on that this evening. If you want that on your warning in March, there could be some direction, maybe the December 2nd meeting, so we can have legal counsel prepare that language for your consideration in January.
I definitely, assuming that the listers do support this, and from what I hear, they do. I don't know if you want to. You do? Okay.
I think Williston deserves a more professional assessor than the listers can provide. I mean, we sit there and we know so little compared to our trained counterparts in other parts of the state, compared to the assessor here, compared to the assistant assessor. And we end up deferring because we don't know anything. And it's very uncomfortable to sit and pretend like you know something when you don't. And I think it's, I don't think we're doing anybody a favor by sitting here and pretending. So I'm in favor of doing away with the Board of Listers.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. I do think I would like to wait till, Jean and Ted are here as well, to get consensus on moving forward, obviously. But it does sound like it makes a lot of sense to proceed in this way, in the best interest of our town and future growth too, and anticipating more growth. So, yeah. Okay. So put on December 2nd. Great. Thank you. And then Michaela, you get to stay here.
Oh, okay. All right, that was just easy. All right.
All
right.
I have errors and omissions to the grand list next up on our agenda.
Yeah, so this is 2025 errors and omissions. Just kind of wanting to inform you the ones that we got this year, which honestly, pretty short list, which is great. Do they typically go through each one?
We've got the materials if there's questions by the.
Yeah, and in this case, there are a lot of interrelated.
Yeah,
it's all
sure.
stemming.
I'll give you, just short and sweet. We got UVM. That one should not have been tax exempt because it is leasing it back to the current owner. And then the other three are honestly utility valuations. Again, utilities have been taken over by the state in terms of valuing. We did get 2 new ones after we kind of lodged the first grand list. One of them we just had to literally separate into a new parcel. So again, it makes 2 E&Os. So yeah, pretty light, I would say. I don't know if there are any questions on those, but more than happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions, but do you?
I don't either.
Okay.
Seems straightforward.
All right, if there's no further questions, there is a motion.
I move to approve the corrections to the 2025 grand list as proposed by the listers.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and the motion is passed. And with that, we can move on to the manager's report.
Okay. A few things in my written report I'll highlight this evening. First, our library project capital campaign officially kicked off. And on the first day, they secured $125,000 in pledges. So that was a great start to the capital campaign. They'll be continuing to meet the committee and continue to work on that in the coming months. You may see in our parking lot, our stormwater EV arrived, and I think our charging station is now online too. We had a little Took us a little bit, but I think we're there. So that's our first official EV to our town fleet, so that's great.
Excellent.
Our police vehicle for the detectives is on its way as well. I'm not sure when it will arrive, but we'll have a dedicated charging station just for the police vehicle over on the western side of the parking lot. So that's coming in. Also in our parking lot, our 2 drop boxes are now installed, 2 drive-ups, one for just for ballots during elections and one for water tax payments, bills, and other town correspondence. So those are up and running. We have cameras on each that can view each drop box for requirements for election security as well. Our December 2nd meeting, I'm anticipating executive session and see if does 6:30 work for an earlier start for board members who are here?
Yeah, it does work for me. I don't know if it,
I can make it work.
okay. And we don't know where in the country Mike will be, but hopefully he can, if you'll just follow up by email too with.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I think I'll be in Fredericksburg, Texas.
Yeah, so that we'll just,
And I also want to mention a couple infrastructure items. Our boardwalk out on Mud Pond, unfortunately, is having some safety issues. We've had to close it over 800 feet in length. It's going to require permitting. It's kind of be a costly fix out there. Plan for this in the capital plan moving forward. So we'll talk about that more when we get to capital with our conservation planner. The Allenbrook Bridge removal, we signed a contract this week, and work's going to begin on that, I think, as early as next week. Yes, I think that's starting up soon. And then our legislative breakfast, I polled our delegation about a December date. It didn't seem like that would really work out, but the suggestion was made for January 26th by, I've heard from at least, I think, our our Williston folks who are a part of that. So another question for the board, if that's a date we should think about now, and I can ask the other board members as well. Find these calendars for the legislators are good to lock in dates early. Because they get very busy.
that works for me too, and obviously with the legislators, Mondays is best once the, session is open, so, can
Works
certainly
for me.
make that work.
I think we typically will start around 8:30 or so and have like a 2-hour program. I'm usually done by 10:30.
Great.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Brings us to other business.
So we have catering permits. Let's start with those. So these are first, we did one of these recently. It's a special event manufacturer. It's kind of a manufacturer's in a business, has samples of their beverages. So one is at Turner Toys, a little bit different one, but it's the PEJE Group. Oh, that's the business name. It's Bookstore Malt serving permit. So it's, we looked this over. It's different, but these are approved by the town and approved by the state, so the staff doesn't have a concern with this. So the table inside the store there. The other one is similar to that, Vermont Hard Seltzer Company, at Healthy Living for a tasting event as well. That's November 22nd, and the Turner Toys is November 20th and 21st.
Obviously, I assume, especially given that it's at a toy store, they will be checking IDs and all of that, so. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve. Both catering permits.
Yeah.
So,
Mike, you're up.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, and
And actually, I'm going to have to table this next one. It's a wedding at Isham Family Barn, but it's not till next June, so I think we'll be okay.
okay, yeah. Well,
Sarah. Gonna have-
I am very impressed.
And then I just have some liquor and tobacco license renewals. You might recall these are on yearly cycles now. We have a few kind of off cycle with some businesses or ownership structures that changed. It's for Home to Suites, Toscano Bistro, and Stewart Shops. It's to renew hotel license for Home to Suites, Toscano, a third-class restaurant bar, first-class restaurant bar, then Jolly, which has now become Stewart's, the second-class license, and tobacco license and tobacco substitute endorsement. These are all coming due in December. There's been no issues with their compliance or issues flagged by the state, so staff would recommend approval. And the motion could be authorize reapproval for a year cycle for these establishments, something.
I move to authorize a one-year renewal for all three of the
I second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, and the licenses are renewed. Now, does that mean that Jolly has officially moved into Stewart's? Is peppermint ice cream in our future?
Ownership-wise, I don't
The
know
real
if
question?
the brand has made its way quite over the state line yet, but hopefully soon.
All right, and with that, it brings us to any final thoughts on the agenda items from this meeting?
I just hope that we don't go down a slippery slope with alcohol, being in public places. When I hear a thing about a toy store, it kind of, maybe I'm old fashioned, just kind of bothers me a little bit. We'll see what happens in the future. Hope it's not a precedent.
And Mike, good point there, Mike, just on that too, this is Sarah and I were talking about this in the office, this is the local is the first layer of approval, but the state has to approve all of this as well, so the state will certainly ask, I think, very, very detailed questions about how that's all structured, and if there's concerns, then the state wouldn't approve it to go forward.
Yeah, thank you.
And with that, we do have an anticipated executive session. There is a motion.
I move to find that premature public knowledge regarding a contract the town is a party to, confidential attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the body would clearly place the town at a substantial disadvantage, and further move that we enter executive session to discuss a contract and confidential attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the body under Title I, Sections 313A1A and F, and the negotiating or securing of real estate purchase or lease options under Title I, Section 313A2.
Okay,
I second.
all right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, all those opposed? All right, and with that, we are in executive session, and Aubrey, we may need to come back, so, yes. Okay, so we are back to approve a contract extension for Town Manager Eric Wells, which will be retroactive and extend the contract through FY '29. Is there a motion?
I move to authorize the Select Board Chair to enter into a 3-year contract extension with Town Manager Eric Wells through June 30th, 2029.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then contract extension passes. And with that, thank you for your service, and thank you for all you do for our town. And as that is our last item, I will end the Select Board meeting.